I think we got everybody. We'll go ahead and call Marshall County Fiscal Court to order August 17th, 2018. Under guests, we have Kathy Thompson from the Marshall County Health Department. Good morning, ma'am. Do you want to come up and...
Billy actually had vacation day today, our new director, Billy Pitt, so I'm representing the health department as the financial director and making the recommendations that our board voted on at our last board meeting to approve a rate of 7.25. Again, that's what we had last year. So that's what we've got in front of you, our budget and our prediction, plus I keep a track of all the income that comes in each year, and that's what the spreadsheet is. It shows you there, so we can kind of see what's been coming through the past years. Any questions or you need me to?
Do y'all have any questions for Kathy? I don't have any questions. Do we need a motion on this to accept this, or?
Motion to accept the taxing district report.
Second.
All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, ma'am. Do you need me to sign that?
No.
Okay. In the records? Okay. Under correspondence, Scott Brown has received a new position with the state ABC office. And this is his letter to my office. I'll just read this. Please let me start off by saying how much I appreciate the opportunity to serve you and your administration. I'm very thankful in your confidence in me to appoint me to the position of ABC Administrator. I hope that I have served that position and office well. I have thoroughly enjoyed working with such a great group of people and made some lifelong friendships in the process. I hope that you know that I believe in you and your administration and know that you are doing a very great things in Marshall County. It saddens me to think that I am leaving such a great place of employment, but after much thoughts and prayers with my family, I have decided to accept an offer from the Kentucky Alcohol Beverage Control for the position of investigator for the West Region. I do not leave this position or appointment lightly. I am not leaving on any type of ill feelings and all, and hope that I can still work together with you and your staff on future endeavors. And that's Scott Brown. One of the things that I've always told staff members is if you can move on to better yourself or get a better job, to me that's success. So Scott and I, we had talked. I know he was kind of saddened that he kind of felt like he was leaving us, but at the same time, I encouraged him that, you know, he's taking an opportunity to work for the state, and he's an asset. He'd be an asset with us here, but he's going to be an asset at the state level. So he really did do a great job coming into that position, especially when the county went wet for the first time, and he's got that department to where it needs to be. So anything that he can do to better himself, I would encourage, and that's what I did. So in the meantime, I know that position falls on me, or the appointment falls on me. So my plan is to make the assistant ABC director carry out those duties so that we can carry out the operations for ABC in the county. Let's see, personnel changes. This is August 17th, personnel changes. Carl Lovett, new part-time evidence custodian at Marshall County Sheriff's Office, hired July 3rd at $12.50 per hour. Charles Moreland, part-time court security at Marshall County Sheriff's Office, voluntary resignation effective July 13th, 2018. Mackenzie Travis, deputy jailer, changed from full-time to part-time status effective June 28th, 18. Did not receive personnel change until after June changes already submitted. Christina Boland, new full-time janitor at courthouse, hired July 18th, 2018 at $11.83 per hour. Terry Gardner, deputy jailer, retired July 31st, 2018. Brett Gord, full-time deputy jailer, wage increase from $12.51 to $12.75 hourly, effective July 16th, 2018. Sean Hamlet, full-time deputy jailer, wage increase from $12.25 to $12.75 hourly, effective July 16, 2018. Jordan Springer, full-time deputy jailer, wage increase from $12.25 to $12.75 hourly, effective July 16, 2018. All employee wages increased effective July 1, 2018, based on COLA increases approved by salary schedule at fiscal court meeting dated June 29, 2018. Under old business, approve the minutes, July 24th special call meeting and August 7th meeting. Motion.
Move that we approve the minutes, both meetings.
Second.
All those in favor say aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Under old business, the senior citizens vehicles. Rick, you wanted this on the agenda?
Yes, we talked last time, Reverend Ken Lewis came on behalf of the senior citizens about a vehicle and 3 vehicles that they wanted to get rid of, and a new vehicle to purchase to serve as a backup vehicle for the Meal on Wheels for 50 seniors that delivered Monday through Friday. And just, I've talked with Jason and gotten some of the information that he's asked for, and just need to kind of talk this through and what they need to do to proceed.
Do we know where the vehicles are at?
Yeah, that they have, when they came, they had already got the vehicles. They had already traded the vehicles in and got title to the new one. And I talked with Assistant County Attorney Jason Darnell this first of the week, and they needed the trade-in values, and I have that there from the seniors, from the chairman of the board that was here last time making his presentation, and the value of the van that they purchased. Just seeing what we need. They have traded 3 vans that have sat out there for 10 years that the county's paid insurance on, and that hadn't even been started, and got a vehicle that is a backup for the Meal on Wheels program, and just need to legally go through the proper channels.
I think it's important. I know I've talked to council and I talked to Ken this morning. I think it's important that we identify what actually took place so that we have it straight for the record.
He provided me with the certificate of title, the trade-in values, the descriptions of the vehicles, and the county attorney's office asked him and asked me to present, and I have that, and I showed Jason a while ago, and just where do we need to go, Jeff or Jason?
Well, let me finish what I was saying. Make sure that we have it official on record, because these decisions were outside the fiscal court, and I think it's very important that we clarify what took place and how we need to fix it. It was July 27th that these vehicles were traded, the 3 vehicles that the county owns, for a vehicle that the senior citizens currently have. That decision was based off of a board meeting at the senior citizens that directed.
I suppose it was.
I spoke with Ken this morning. I'm just stating for the record to make sure I clarify this up. Ken advised that it was a board meeting that was where the discussion came up to trade in the vehicles. By carrying out those wishes of the board, there were decisions made to trade those 3 vehicles with a local business. I think it's Champion Motors. That took place. That was already done. I think the temporary tag that's on the vehicle that they currently have was the 27th of July. It wasn't until Ken came to my office wanting me to sign those titles that I acknowledged that that's not how it works. When it's county property, we have to send all things through the fiscal court. I had counsel looking into it to make sure that if the county were to, when we have this relationship where nonprofits have their vehicles titled under the county, that releasing those vehicles, we release them under the statute properly. So that was taking place. I think we met our fiscal court meeting, I think it was at the 7th, August 7th. Ken was advised by you, Rick, to come to fiscal court to discuss this matter. And during that time, I think counsel you were requesting the documents as far as, because nobody knew that this had already taken place. It was my belief at that time that the vehicles were still in our possession at the senior citizens, which that actually that wasn't the case. But I believe counsel in the August 7th meeting was requesting the details of the transaction so that we can make it more official for the fiscal court.
Yeah, they've changed directives there, and they did not know the procedure to go through. They knew that they had purchased the vehicles themselves. The county did not purchase those vehicles for them. They purchased the vehicles that has been done in the past according to legal counsel, and they just want to do whatever they need to do to. That was what they were told. That they needed a certificate of title, and the vehicles were traded in. The transaction took place 3 weeks ago, or well before. They did not know, since they paid for the vehicles. They just assumed that it was just something that would flow smoothly. But they want to go through the proper channels. That's why Reverend Lewis was here.
Well, I think that information was only known probably by you and those involved. But as far as the fiscal court, as far as the fiscal court, making sure that moving forward, when we move to discuss this, the situation that we're in is that this has already taken place. The vehicle is in their possession. We don't have a receipt of the sale. The value of the vehicles, I don't even know who gave the values of the vehicles. The insurance, we reached out to our insurance provider to make sure that moving forward, if we were to take vehicles in under the fiscal court as ownership, what does that entail? And there is some liabilities that the fiscal court's going to have. And I think that's important that information is discussed. But at this point right now, do we have a receipt of sales? So we can have our records, because we're going to get dinged in the audit, I'm sure, for this fiscal year, because there was monies transferred in sale of equipment that we own, and we have no documentation. Do we have a receipt of the sale?
I don't, all Reverend Lewis gave me to present to the court is, and he understood from being here that this is information that needed. They could get information. The value, as he told us, was, and I heard that for the first time when he was here at our last meeting. The value of the van was $5,800. They got the 3 vans that had been sitting there 10 years and hadn't been started in 10 years that the county was paying the insurance on, and transferred back to them, and they assumed that was the process. That's always been the process, where they take ownership of the van, then transfer it back to the county, and the county wouldn't be paying insurance on the 3 vans anymore, which has been foolishly sitting out there and doing so, and we just have the responsibility. But no, those vans, those 3 vans traded in, it's my understanding from talking to them that the senior citizens themselves paid for the vans and not the county. They just transferred procedure, hadn't it, Jeff? Is that what you said? That's been the procedure.
I don't have any reason to dispute that where the money came from, that they were titled in the name of the county.
Right.
And that's the reason I want to stress the importance of approving these things before it happens.
Oh,
because
yeah, I agree.
if you're sitting there now and you go to, what if you didn't approve it? 2 of the vehicles are gone, as far as I know.
All three of them are gone.
So,
When he came, they were
what if you
gone. He
didn't approve it?
know. Yeah.
That it's going to be a mess. And then on the other, from the audit standpoint, that $3,800 is shown to be paid for a county vehicle, and we don't have any record of where that came from or anything else. So that would, in my opinion, that would be a big red flag, and we would need the receipt and the proof of that payment, where it came from.
Could
for
you
our
get
records.
could you get with them and see what they need? They want to do it. They realize that where their error was and so forth, but they certainly want to straighten it up satisfactory. So can you get with them and get the information that they need, and so that they can, this is their backup van for the Meal on Wheels program that feeds 50 Marshall County residents that can't get out.
I want to make it clear that we were in the process of doing that.
Okay.
But that was, when I spoke with council, we did not know that this transaction had already taken place.
Nor did I.
The receipt of the sale, we have county property that has been sold, and we don't have anything to account for it. And that's a concern for me. And I think it ties into moving forward, as we are supposed to be good stewards of the taxpayers' property. Having these types of relationships, and I shared this with Ken this morning when he was in my office and we talked. The relationship, when we have vehicles that we title under the county and then we just turn them loose to that organization, there's liabilities tied to it. We just talking with the insurance company. If they're out there getting multiple collisions, that's going to affect our insurance policy. There is a cap. There's liabilities. If there was a major accident and we were to be sued, potentially the taxpayers could be on the hook for that. And then there's the accountability of it. And here's a prime example, as I discussed in August 7th, was that the worst case scenario is that we got the nonprofits selling our county property, and we don't have any, us as the voting members of the fiscal court have no knowledge or information of it. It's a gray area in my opinion, and it opens up the door for other problems. But moving forward on these 3 vehicles, the wishes of the senior citizens from that board meeting, they wanted to trade those 3 vehicles. They did, $5,800. $2,000 on the 3 vehicles, I believe, was the value, so $3,800 is what they paid. We need to get a receipt so that we have our affairs in order, because we don't, at this point, we have no documentation. The vehicle that they're driving, I don't believe it's insured.
They're not driving the vehicle. That's why Reverend Lewis, when he found out that, like I say, this process is new to them, and that's why he was. I heard their request the same time everyone else did, and they just want to do whatever they need to do it properly.
Where's that vehicle at?
I don't have any idea. I heard the same request everybody else did at the last court meeting. He just gave me this because I talked to the assistant county attorney, and this was some of the information, and he asked me to deliver it, and so I'm doing so. It's not being driven because it's not insured. I would assume that it's at the Senior Citizen Center, but I don't know that. They just want to do it properly. Like I say, this is new to them. They realize that they have erred in doing this and put the cart before the horse, and they want to do it right. So if I would certainly like to see the county attorney's office get the information so that we can help them proceed forward.
Just an honest mistake on their part.
Jeff, did you have an opinion that you wanted to share?
Regard to,
As far as basically the position that we're in, as far as the transactions that have occurred and what's needed?
well, yeah, if, the overall standpoint of funding these nonprofits and that sort of thing, earmarking monies for public purpose, the more that you do, more times you do things like this that are a little unorthodox, the more likely it is to create problems down the road in regard to other nonprofits making claims and doing that. And I just, looking down the road, that's the reason I want to stress the importance of not waiting till after a transaction has occurred to approve it, because you're in a situation where you really have no option in regard to whether you pass it or not. And it just, the whole, when you hit the first of the fiscal year and you know what you're giving, what each of these organizations are getting or giving, and what you're going to do for them, and that's documented. And then if, like I say, unorthodox, and odd type transactions can create problems for you down the road.
You wanted this on the agenda.
Yes, they asked me to bring this forward, and they made an honest mistake, as Commissioner Boland said, and they're here to try to correct that mistake, and I would certainly like to help them. They just want to do it properly, and that's why Reverend Lewis was here.
I mean, what specifically?
Just the same thing that we all heard at the last meeting when Reverend Lewis was here and told everyone for the first time the transaction and what had taken place. They just made an honest mistake and didn't know that the titles, they knew they paid for the vehicles themselves out of their funds, and the county didn't. That's just been the procedure in the past that the county was paying insurance on 3 vehicles presently that had been started in 10 years, and they thought they were cleaning up a problem and fulfilling a need.
I think the next step needs to be that our office and Emily's office needs to have full access to any documents that may have been signed or exchanged.
Can you get with them and Reverend Lewis or Apollo Stamps or Debbie Ford, the
Yeah, we can do
two
that.
ladies
but,
there,
I mean,
and just tell them
Emily
they'll
needs to
get
be
you
involved.
anything you need. They want to do what's right.
Emily needs to be involved as well, since she's going to be the one
Okay.
keeping the books on it,
Whatever
so.
you need, we can do that in a timely manner so that they can use the vehicle.
Get these documents, and do we need to approve that them trading them in? At this
Yeah, it'll have to
point,
be court action for the
Right, but you need
titles
those-
to transfer.
You need those documents before that, so we can go through and know the values that we're approving. And what
That would look better on you.
Yeah, they want to do it the right way, and certainly we do too. So if
Is
you all
that in the
with them-
form of a motion? So
Well,
that
I don't think we need a motion now, because we got to see the paperwork first with Emily's office.
right,
Yeah.
to get the proper documentation.
Right.
fine, that's what they want. They want to clean up their area.
At this point, I think it's important that we understand what they want. We need to fix our end. So you guys can get the documentation, and then we'll have that for the next court meeting. I don't know, from your end, Emily, is there anything else that you foresee?
We
that the
probably
auditor's
need
gonna
to
be
look
looking for?
into putting tighter controls on how that kind of thing can happen. I know we retained the titles to the vehicle, but that still didn't matter. So I don't know.
Well, I think, do they have another vehicle titled under the fiscal court?
I think they could have without a signature.
That's what, we
No,
had those
I
titles.
thought they have another
but-
vehicle
I don't think it's-
outside of currently.
I
Are you
think-
titled in the fiscal courts now?
Yeah,
The new one?
No,
The new one couldn't be because we haven't,
No, the new
no.
is not,
they-
but my
They
assumption.
currently have a vehicle that's titled under the fiscal court.
We don't know
The
that.
primary one.
these were
Treasurer's office
titled under
doesn't know
our
that.
name. That's kind of what set this in motion, is that they wanted those titles to trade it in. And we retained those in my office, and I don't know where the titles are. Are they with your office
They're
still?
right here.
Okay.
Ken brought
I
them to me.
don't know how we can prevent it.
I think for now, we need,
That's a step of, that was one of our controls, and it still didn't work.
yes, and I think that,
If they had
yes,
the title,
Yes.
they couldn't have traded them.
well, yes.
We were incorrect,
That's another
apparently.
problem. That's why, we need to fix this. That's another subject for discussion, but for right now, the current issue that we have on the table is getting the documentation, so that we can clear it up on our end.
I assume that all the vehicles that they presently have, we have the titles to. Do you know the answer to that?
I believe so. I believe,
We have always
when their
had the
chairman-
titles well before any of us
no,
got here.
they had one down there that Debbie found, and they
Right.
brought it to us, and then they wanted to pick up these. So, when I became treasurer in the first year or two, I went going through those titles and trying to identify which ones were current, which ones were old, which ones we still owned, which one we didn't own, was something that I worked on. But I'll admittedly say that it still needs work. It's not something that we have gotten all the bugs worked out of, obviously.
Like I say, they just they realize that they have erred and they want to see how to correct
Yeah,
that.
I'm sure Debbie, I can get with Debbie and we can get something figured out to present to you all for
Okay.
some official records.
That's all they were asking.
We'll have that for the next fiscal court meeting. Any other questions regarding the senior citizens vehicles? Under new business, E911 employee wage change. Good morning, or good afternoon.
Good afternoon. I know, we're used to saying good morning.
Yeah,
I have 3 part-time employees that, as long as they've been there, have still remained at the entry-level pay rate. And I'm interested in having that changed that will reflect their experience and their service. And the first one is Vincent Terrell, wage change from $12.84 to $13.75. And I will say, too, that I met with Emily and Brad prior to this to make sure everything was good for my budget. The second one is Philip Madison from $13.12 to $15.25. And the third one is for Miranda Hanson, which will be from $12.51 to $15.75. They have several years of experience, and they will remain as part-time employees, but it's just at a rate that it reflects their years of service.
I know Philip's been there a long time. Have the other two been there a long time?
Vince has not been there as long, and that's why the difference in the pay rate. Miranda was previously at Livingston County and a place in North Carolina. She's got several years of experience, even more than Philip.
Is there any questions? If there's not any questions, then we would need a motion to accept these changes.
Approve these new wage changes.
Second.
Second, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you. New business bid advertisement. I see Wendy's not here. She's wanting to put out a bid advertisement on the 60 by 60 pre-engineered metal building at Road Department.
Motion to approve her, she got it spec'd out? Like she wants it? Okay, motion to approve her going out for bids for the building.
Second.
Second, all those in favor say aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Next on the new business is Rivercrest Engineering, their professional service agreement that we have with them. You've got a copy of their renewal letter. And that, if approved, the renewal would take to March 1st of 2020. I'll just read this letter. Judge Neal, when we established our Rivercrest Engineering Incorporated Marshall County Fiscal Court Professional Service Agreement, March of 2016. The initial term was established to be a renewable 2-year period. The agreement language in paragraph 101A stipulates the term of this agreement is 2 years. Therefore, the agreement can be renewed annually on its anniversary identified indefinitely with unit price fee adjustments negotiated during the renewal process. For this renewal period, Rivercrest unit price fees are acceptable without change. We know of no other agreement modifications or language updates that are warranted at this time. In no way does this agreement limit the fiscal court from soliciting engineering services from others or create an exclusive relationship between our organizations. This agreement simply reflects the way we conduct business together. If the fiscal court is agreeable to extend our professional service agreement, we suggest an extension to March 1, 2020. Our signatures below will suffice for our renewal purposes. If the fiscal court needs additional documentation or prefers to draft a letter authorizing this agreement renewal, that will be fine with us as well. Sincerely, Rivercrest Engineering, Brian Flynn. Are there any questions?
Do we have one of these agreements with the other engineering firms that we do business with?
Who?
Does the county have?
What other engineering firms?
Baker Farman, Workman, we do business with, some of the others we've used in the past.
If you're referring about the due diligence, I think that
No,
was through
I'm
the,
just asking if we have agreements with all the engineering firms.
I can only speak since I've been here. This is the only one that we have. Bacon Farmer Workman, I think that was for the due diligence for Southwest One, which was funded by the City County Industrial Authority.
So we exclusively use Rivercrest then?
We don't have to, but that's.
Oh, okay, yeah.
At any time, we can bid any project out for that.
Yeah, I think we've done for the park comprehensive plan, they did a bid, a specific bid for that Baker Farm Workman did. So I think on specific projects we could do, but this is more of the, like a general agreement.
Yeah, that
General,
was my
because-
question.
Well, if you get
Who would
in,
use them?
if you get into federal dollars, they obviously, I think, have bid requirements that we have to follow, so.
It's not an exclusive agreement. Motion to approve, renewing the agreement with Rivercrest.
That's second.
All those in favor say aye. Any opposed? Motion carries.
Judge, since Rivercrest is on the agenda, I just wanted to let the court know that on Monday, working with Mr. Green and Mr. Lovett, we organized a meeting at the board office with sanitation district and some representatives from the school board, and along with engineers representing both parties. And we had a pretty good meeting, and we're set to meet again a week from this coming Monday. And we cleared up some miscommunications between the sides.
Yeah, I think there was some miscommunication.
The tap-on fee caused a lot, the word tap-on fee caused a lot of confusion.
Just the way it was presented.
And so that, I think the mud has been cleared up a little bit there, and the idea a week from Monday is to hopefully find common ground to get that done between both entities, so. I was very happy with the meeting.
I'd be surprised if they can't, get everybody in an understanding of exactly what the charges are and what they're for, that they can't come to an agreement.
It was a good meeting.
And that was with the chairman and I believe the operator and
Yeah.
school staff and.
Mr. Green and Mr. Groves, and then several representatives from the school, along with Mr. Lovett, Marty Johnson, school
And I
board
think
attorney.
Rivercrest was there as well.
Rivercrest was
Yeah.
there, VFW was there, and then Backus Oliver was there on the phone, so.
Under new business treasurer's report,
I want to, before I get into treasurer's report, I want to pass these down to you all to sign. We were working on those right before court. Those expenses are to move monies from CFSB to Heritage if an expense drafted from Heritage, and then from Heritage to CFSB if a deposit went into Heritage. So while we're getting the accounts all lined out, we're going to have some shifting like this. So that's what all of that is about, those few right there. If I can get you all to initial those and lump them, or with your bulk motion to pay the bills. As of July 31st, 2018, general fund had a book balance of $1,104,335.66. Road fund, $953,394.42. Jail fund, $289,871.21. Grant fund, $0. 911 fund, $121,410.44. Occupational tax administrator fund, $3,508,598.51. ABC fund, $214,010.17. Building inspection fund, $54,083.93. For total reporting funds of $6,245,704.34. Your packet for your treasurer's report is much thicker. That's due to the two accounts.
Motion to accept the treasurer's report, subject to audit.
Second that.
all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Payment of the bills.
Motion to pay the bills, Judge.
Second that.
All those in favor say aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. We need to go into executive session, possible litigation and property acquisition.
So moved, Judge.
Second that.
In favor say aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Go ahead and call Morris County Fiscal Court back to order. No further discussion. Is there a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn, Judge.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.